Welcome to episode 228 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. Today, 37 easy money savings tips guide. We dive into it so you can offset your mortgage rates. $228.
Let's go.
Money savings tips to offset your rising mortgage rates.
So this is, we talked about it in last week's episode. And this is funny enough. We made this 3 years ago in the beginning of COVID. We were a few months with little work to do. So the world had come to a complete standstill.
Home in our jammies.
We were at home in our jammies, and this idea came to fruition. We came up with the thoughts of
37 easy money-saving tips for homeowners and tenants.
Yes, and the Reader's Choice tip number 9. That was my preferred tip.
Was it?
Yes. I don't remember what it was.
So very, very, very timely. A lot of people on a variable rate. Mortgage rates have come up. Monthly expenses have come up. Food prices have come up. Everything's high. Everything's increased in price.
It has. Food prices specifically just blows me away.
Ooh, crazy.
I was looking at a stat. I'm going to pull it up while we talk, but.
All right. Well, I'll start banging through some of my favorite tips. If you would like your own copy, we will have a link in the description. You can just go download it. It's a free, easy download. We're not harassing you with anything.
We may send you an email.
Oh, we will send you an email.
Yeah.
We'll send you an email. That's it.
You can tell us where to go. We'll stop. Just click a button.
Alcohol consumption is at an all-time high.
That is one that I struggled with. I'm not able to really. I've done 36 tips, we'll say.
Now, I'm not saying deplete yourselves completely, because then there would be a lot of crazy people, especially in this part of the world. So still enjoy a glass of wine. But do you need a $30 bottle of wine or a $40 or whatever?
Or do you need a bottle?
Well,
enjoy a glass, not a bottle.
Yes, buy the bottle, but drink it over a period of 3 days.
3 hours or 3 days.
3 hours or 3 days. Well, that's your choice, right?
That's right.
Is it 3 hours or is it 3 days? Because if you were typically drinking a bottle in 3 hours, which, hey, I'll raise my hand. I'm one of those people that enjoy a nice bottle of red wine, you know?
Well, and the point to this is that there's a lot of people out there whose finances are hurting, and the only way to get through it feasibly is to make sacrifices.
Well, we talked about this in episode 227. If you did not watch that, we talked about Milton being the most mortgaged place in Canada. And we talked about that fact that you have to make sacrifices.
Yes.
You will be forced, at some point, you will be forced to make a decision as to whether or not your mortgage is the most important thing you're paying, or all of these other expenses.
Well, you'll be forced in a bad way, in the sense that if you don't make these changes, you'll be forced because you'll be forced out of your house, or you'll be forced into bankruptcy, or
yes.
You know what I mean? So
well, there's another tip. Do you really need the amount of space you currently have? Or could you downsize?
Right.
Could you cut your mortgage payment down by downsizing your home? Now, your home, much similar to mine, there is a lot of unused space in the home, whether it's in your finished basement, it's an extra bedroom for very occasional guests. It might be the extra family room that you usually use for movie nights with your family. And it's
the challenge, though, is that downsizing is a very ineffective tool to cutting costs, really, because of the acquisition and disposition costs of real estate.
Sure. So you have lawyer fee, mortgage fees to break your mortgage potentially. You have
Real estate fees, everything.
Real estate brokerages.
It's a very expensive process.
Land transfer tax.
So to downsize in an effort to save money, you're really downsizing in most cases.
In some cases.
In most cases.
In some cases.
In most cases.
In some
You've
cases.
got to go down $200,000-$400,000.
Okay.
And some people, that puts them in a cardboard box on the street.
Well, I'm not talking about those people. I'm not saying move from a 1-bedroom condo to a bachelor condo.
No, but take a $1 million townhouse. Okay, first-time home buyer and $1 million.
I'm not even talking about those people, but yes, that it may be relevant to them, may not. Like if you have a newlywed couple that they bought that $1.3 million townhouse a couple of years ago, do they need that, or could they suffice in a 2-bedroom condo?
Right, which is a substantial downsize.
It is. But
Right.
I'm talking about you own a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 3,000 square foot home where you easily could be living in a 2,100 square foot home.
Right. That's feasible. I wouldn't say it's feasible. That's, I would say, reasonable.
I have a client right now with 4 children, plus her and her spouse, living in an 1,100 square foot townhouse with a 5th child on the way.
I just had tenants apply for a rental. I wasn't representing tenants, but these tenants, it's what's the term for 2 families that come together? A joint family?
Generational?
No. Like 2 divorces, and then they meet, and then the kids become a new
Blended
family. Thank you. So they had a blended family. They were in a 2.5 bedroom condo. They are in a 2.5 bedroom condo. 6 people.
Yeah.
In a 2.5 bedroom condo. They've been in that condo.
What's a half bedroom?
2.5. 2 plus 10. Yeah. So they've been in that condo.
You get the small bedroom.
As a blended family of 6 people for 5 years.
Yeah.
And 5 years, like that's commitment. Like good for them.
How much space do you really need?
That's an extreme.
How
But it
much
can be
space
done.
do you really need?
That's why I haven't moved. I use every square inch of my house.
And even that is debatable. And do you really, you have a living room and then you have a family room upstairs. Do you really need
We
that
could
family
make do
room
without
upstairs?
it. I'm sure we could.
You have a guest room in your basement. Does that get used?
For storage.
Very well. See, hydro usage. We've talked about this in the past. I go to many homes where the dishwasher is running at 1 o'clock in the afternoon during peak time. You got all kinds of lights on. The TV is on and nobody's watching it. People have soffit lights in their soffits where they're on for hours upon hours. Be mindful of when you're using hydro and what you are using.
Yeah, I would agree.
Laundry, dishes, things like that. Off-peak hours, after 7 p.m.
The peak and off-peak hours is a substantial thing for sure, because I think that's double the cost. It's double the cost.
Double. You are paying twice in cost for your hydro to run your dishwasher at 5 o'clock in the afternoon versus at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Well, and so things like lights makes a difference, more so if you're using traditional bulbs, like incandescent bulbs, stuff like that. LED bulbs is very low consumption, so the savings there would be minimal, but it's still savings nevertheless. But the peak and off-peak hours is big.
One of my favorite tips in this guide, again, leave a comment if you have any comments about how you are saving money right now, or if you want to share the thoughts and ideas with others out there, how people can save money. But if you want to download this guide, it's a beautiful guide, lots of great tips, 37 of them. Go to the link below or send us a message if you want us to send it to you directly. We're happy to do that. But one of my favorite tips, because you know me.
Garage sailing?
Resell.
So this is not a money savings
resell.
tips per se, but it is in there. It's more about earning additional income.
That's true.
When you're sitting there watching Netflix, you could be earning additional income.
Well, there's kind of a two-headed dragon of this because it is a money-saving tip for somebody that is going to be buying whatever you're reselling. So as an example, if you just had a child and you need a stroller, do you need that brand new stroller for $1,000, or could you find one that somebody's reselling for a couple hundred?
Right.
But I guarantee you go through your home right now, your garage, your storage areas, your bedrooms, your closets.
How many boxes of kids' clothes do you have?
You will find copious amount of clothing, magazines and books, old sports cards.
And much of this you think is without value, but it's not the case.
It's absolutely not the case. And if you find the right mediums of where to sell these items,
that's a big factor.
eBay, Facebook Marketplace, there are a lot of Facebook groups, specific groups, like niche groups to sell certain things. Amazon, depending on what the item is. And truth be told, there's a lot of flippers out there that are looking for all this stuff. So, yeah, you might be selling it below what they're able to sell it for, but they're looking for this stuff to be able to sell it and make some money themselves.
Yeah.
And since early 2020 of the pandemic, when the pandemic started, there were a lot of people looking how to make additional money, side jobs.
Right, because they were without work.
Right. Side hustles.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the current world we live in terms of reselling has changed so dramatically over the last few years. Like you see sports cards and collectibles and memorabilia has gone through the roof in terms of value, but also stupid things too, like old trucker hats, as an example, where you would look at it and go, oh, this dirty old whatever Esso hat from 1980.
Right. There's collectors out there love that stuff.
Love it and pay huge money for it. And there's a lot of those things that are scarce.
Maybe you need to do a video teaching people how to do this stuff.
A lot of those things are scarce, and maybe there is no demand for it in your marketplace. But as an example, I sell a shit ton of stuff on eBay where I think, it doesn't have much value, or, I think it's worth $5. And then all of a sudden somebody in Florida wants it for $40.
Right.
And you've got a lot of things around the home, Tupperware and Corningware.
Corningware I knew.
Tupperware. Oh
really?
My God. Let me tell you, if you inherit a property and it's got stuff in it, I guarantee you, do not call Salvation Army to come and pick it up. Do not have a garage sale. Take some decent photos of this stuff, put it on eBay. Tupperware that you would think has zero value. It's a little bit discolored. It's like from the 80s.
That's thick plastic you're talking about?
Thick plastic.
Opaque, thick plastic.
Yes.
Really?
Has tremendous collectability. Tremendous value. Clothing. Old t-shirts have skyrocketed in value.
Like graphic tees.
Graphic tees, whether it's sports
How many
related.
people got graphic tees sitting around that don't have armpit stains and rips in them?
The ones with rips and armpit stains are selling too.
That's
and
fucked
people
up.
know how, like the collectors also know how to refurbish some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd be surprised. Let's say you went to a Iron Maiden concert in whatever years and years and years ago, and you bought the t-shirt and you've worn it twice because then you got a girlfriend and she told you stop wearing this stupid shirt and you put it in a cardboard box that's been sitting in your basement for years.
Yeah.
You throw that on eBay and you've made yourself $100.
Right.
Crazy. Yeah. So Yeah, not so much a money savings tip, but
but very, very relative. And I think a lot of people out there can take advantage of it. But I do think they need more direction. So I was serious about saying you should maybe help, provide some more insight into that.
The spin-off of that too is just like my example with the stroller.
Right.
Things that you need or want to buy don't necessarily need to be new.
Especially kids stuff. Like strollers are a good example.
Great
example. A lot
example.
of people out there spending $1,000 to $1,500 on a stroller, use it for 3-4 years.
Well, even toys, like, when your kids are very young, you're going through a lot of the toys that help their brain development.
Right.
But after a few months, they're no longer relevant. Those little pop-up things with the big buttons, and you go to Toys R Us, you buy it new, it's $30-$40. You buy them used on Facebook Marketplace for $2.
Yeah. Well, Alicia, my wife, is really good at that stuff, especially with like bikes, outdoor equipment. Yeah. And we'll buy the used one. We picked up a used bike. I can't remember how much we bought it for. And then we sold it for the same price a year later.
Sure. So. Little asterisk on my note at the bottom. Recurring subscriptions are killing you.
So my favorite tip in the catalog is in the guide revolves around monthly payments. So, and my thoughts on that are twofold. One is really do a deep dive and evaluate what your monthly payments are. Guaranteed there's some you don't even know you're paying. There's some that realistically you do not need. And there's others that you can get a reduced price on.
I love the reduced price tip. So your cell phone.
Yes.
Your internet cable subscription.
Insurance.
Gym membership. Things like that. Get on the phone. Even if you have to be on hold for a half an hour. Let's just put your AirPods on, put your headphones on while you're walking the dog. Stay on hold.
Some of those companies, I think, intentionally do that.
Put you on hold for that long so you hang up?
You just make it a very 100%. Long process.
100%. Yeah. When have you ever called somewhere and they pick up the phone right away? No, you call anywhere right now and, extended wait times. There's a lot of people on hold. You're number 13.
Well, we did it with cable recently because I've been...
Love the ones that say press 1 for a callback. I love the callback
I do that all the time. It's a great feature.
Yeah.
Alicia and I did that with our cable recently. We called Bell. Because we genuinely wanted to cancel cable because we really don't need it. And there's so much content elsewhere.
Right. Don't need cable these days.
So we called and had genuine intentions of canceling the cable. And instead, they kept the cable, added a phone line, which we don't need because we don't have a phone. But they dropped their price down more than we would have saved anyways. Because I think they just want to keep the services running.
Right.
So we save $50 a month, have better service than we had before. They actually sent us a new router, their new fastest gigabit something or other router.
Yep.
So now we're $50 ahead with more products.
Yeah.
And that was a simple phone call. There's especially with apps nowadays, if you're subscribing to an app of some sort, the second you cancel that subscription, you will get an email saying, hey, we hate to lose you. Sign back for 20% off or more. So I've seen some that are profound discounts.
Well, I hope somebody at Adobe is not listening to this, but my Adobe subscription, every time they go back to the normal price, start charging me the normal price. I let them charge it for 1 month, then I go on to their website. It's not even a call. Yeah. You go on to the website, cancel. Reason for canceling, too expensive. Oh, would you like to stay on for 60% off for the next year? Oh, yes, I would.
Yeah. And then just do it again the next year.
That's exactly what I've been doing for the last 8.
Yeah. There's a spot in your phone, like with iPhone, I can't remember where it is, but if you go to your
subscriptions,
that's a very handy spot to check. I don't know.
Just check up.
You go to your
you subscribe
settings,
to some of these apps. They might be free for 3 days. 3-day trial. That's how they fuck with you.
Yeah.
They get you on that 3-day trial, that 7-day trial. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But automatically it converts to $19.99.
So this is
recurring.
where you find them.
Yeah.
So you go to settings, type in subscriptions, and then you click on the link.
Yep.
So right now, what have I got here? MileIQ. I don't use it, but I do need to keep it. That's for tracking my mileage. Actually, I don't need it. I could write it in a book. Paramount, and then Windy app, which is one I use. I pay for annually. That's for wind conditions.
For what?
That's just to know accurate wind conditions. And I got it because I'm now kite foiling rather. So I want to see where I can kite foil.
Right. And how many times has that come in handy?
Twice.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you need it?
No.
Here, let me teach you how to lick your finger and stick it in the air.
But it is very accurate. It tells you the knots or the kilometers per hour.
Would you like to download our 37 easy money savings tip guide? I should probably
cancel that subscription, but I've paid for it up till August.
Recurring subscriptions are killing you. You and your spouse probably have subscriptions that each other don't know about too. All right? So just throwing it out there. No matter your relationship, somebody has subscribed to something where the other person doesn't know about.
Yeah.
And that's costing your household money.
You know, speaking of spouses doing things that other spouses, their significant others don't know about, I'm learning regularly of women who get Botox injections and their husbands have no idea. How is that possible?
Wow. They might only be seeing them in the dark. I don't know.
It makes no sense.
Where's the Botox going that the husbands don't know?
I mean, Jen, I would assume it's going into their face somewhere, their lips, their forehead, whatever.
A lot going into the lips these days.
Yeah. So maybe cut back on the Botox, ladies and men. I see men with it
too. If men don't notice that their wives have Botox injections in their lips.
A lot of men are dumb. They don't know what half the women do to look the way they do.
It's true. Oh, honey, you look great today.
Yeah.
What did you do differently?
Yeah.
Oh, I did my hair. Yeah. Well, that's not a recurring subscription, but it is a recurring cost because eventually you got to get that shit plumped back up.
Yeah. I mean, everything in the house is a recurring cost.
Yeah.
All of your consumable products.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to evaluate what you're buying.
Yeah.
Right? It can get very expensive.
Well, you subscribe to Amazon Prime because you order toilet paper from there every month and you put that on a recurring schedule as well. That one is actually, if you're going to do something as a recurring cost, I do like the Amazon subscribe and save because for things like toilet paper,
diapers,
wet wipes, all those things, especially with kids, that's a good point. Diapers, I order the water wipes all the time. You do save money by going on to their subscribe and save, and you can cancel it at any time. But if you are going to use those consumables, that's not a bad subscription to have.
Yeah.
It's the ones like, well, during COVID, during the pandemic, how many people had subscriptions to Paramount, to
and there's
Netflix,
more. There's even more now.
Well, they're all going into that model. Every company on the planet wishes to have recurring revenue. But
it is, so just on that note though, it is hard to mentally to get yourself to a position where you say, okay, I'm going to cancel that subscription and see what happens.
Stop watching TV, read a book. It's amazing what it'll do to your brain. Instead of watching, like I watch very little TV. I am a sports fanatic. So
that counts.
Yes. So that's really the only TV I watch. When I'm a little under the weather or depressed or something, sometimes I'll, have a drink and just sit and binge watch a show. No, recently I binge watched Better Call Saul. Okay. And that was 5 seasons of 10 episodes. So 50 episodes. Took me a month. And every night I just, before bed, kind of watched one of those shows. But the last time I did that was probably 7 years ago.
Right.
But you know what I do? And I find it relaxing. So you got to find what's right for you. And since I cut my cable now probably that would have been close to 20 years ago.
Completely. Yeah. You just have whatever networks you subscribe to.
Correct. Which is just Netflix and Amazon Prime because I'm already an Amazon.
Something or other.
And then Sportsnet.
Sportsnet, yeah.
Yeah. And even that, like I could stream the sports, but the quality is not very good. And if I'm going to watch a hockey game as an example, I want it in good quality and I can afford it and I deserve it. There have to be things where you say, yeah,
for sure.
I'm not cutting that out.
No.
But in the time where a lot of people spend watching TV and sitting down and watching a movie, I just sit down in my basement and I throw on music or a podcast or something and put on my Sage diffuser for a little bit of relaxing time and create a nice, relaxing ambiance.
Yeah, got it.
And I pull out some stuff that we're not using anymore, take some photos and post them. And I would say probably 4 or 5 days of the week, I will post 3 or 4 items a day. Because it is a little bit time consuming to take the photo, edit the photo, and then post it with the description and all that stuff. Just last night.
Well, you're doing it properly in the sense that you're putting effort into it. There's a lot of people that don't spend as much time doing it and still have, maybe to a lesser degree, they're still able to sell things.
Yeah, but it's just like selling anything, like selling a home.
Absolutely.
Right? The photos make a difference. The description makes a difference. The quality relates to how much you're going to get for that item. And just last night, I posted 3 older fishing reels that I don't use anymore. I've had them for years and years and years. And I already got an offer on one of them for $95. And I probably paid maybe $100 for it like 25 years ago.
That seems crazy.
Right? But some collector wanted this fishing reel. So there you go. Some tips for you guys. Thanks for listening and watching. As always, episode 228 of KT Confidential. The last episode was also a good one to watch or listen to because some of this does intertwine with affording your home. Yeah, affording your home now as the mortgage rates have gone up. And again, 37 easy money savings tip guide for homeowners and tenants. If you want a copy, let us know or click on the link below and leave a comment. If we haven't talked about a tip that you think would help other people, we'd love to hear it. So that's it.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening to episode 228. If you have any tips, any money savings tips, leave them in the comments. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you next week.